thing.
No, it isn't. I must always win. Everyone says I'm a champion. And by the way, Mum, I want a pair of running shoes and some sports.
Saudara pendengar, berikut ini dua orang pelajar di sekolah Barbara sedang membicarakan lomba lari tadi.
Did you hear about the race?
Yes, I listened to it on the radio. Poor Barbara.
Perhaps she won't be so conceited now.
I don't think she's conceited.
Well, I do. She wins all her races and she's always talking to Mr. Hayes about running. She doesn't want to do anything else. She wants to run all the time. I asked her to my birthday party, but she said she was too busy to come. I'm glad she lost the race.
Dua tahun telah berlalu, dan umur Barbara sudah hampir 16 tahun. Dia masih terus menang dalam lomba lari, tetapi sekarang dia lebih giat belajar dan angka-angkanya bertambah baik. Berikut ini, orang tua Barbara sedang berbicara tentang apa yang telah terjadi selama 2 tahun terakhir. Coba dengarkan.
Would you like another cup of tea, John?
No, thanks. By the way, I heard Barbara won her race at school today.
That isn't news. She always wins.
Yes. You know, I think it was a good thing when she lost that race in the inter-school sports 2 years ago. She was getting a bit conceited.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that. Yes, perhaps you're right. She was getting a bit spoiled and conceited before she lost that race. She's been getting better marks at school since then, too.
Yes, and when she won the race in the next year's inter-school sports, it was great, wasn't it?
Yes. And remember when she won the interstate sports?
Oh, that was marvellous. Because there were a lot of good runners from the other states.
Jim Hayes was right. She's a champion.
Hi. Any tea in the pot?
I'll make some more. This is cold.
No, don't bother, Mum. I've got some news.
I've already heard. You won the race this afternoon.
No, that isn't the news.
Well, what is it?
Mr. Carson called me into his study after the race, and he said...
Well, Barbara, congratulations again.
Thank you, Mr. Carson.
I talked to the mayor today. You know Mr. Richards, don't you?
Oh, Dad knows him. I don't think I've ever met him.
You're going to meet him soon, because he wants the town to send you to the Pacific Games next year.
He wants the town to send me to the Pacific Games.
That's right. He said he'd been following your career for 2 years. It costs a lot to go to the games. The school hasn't got enough money.
And Mum and Dad certainly haven't got enough either.
So, Mr. Richards is going to ask the local council about it at the next meeting. He thinks a lot of people will want to help, to give money. You're quite famous in this town, you know. And I'm glad to say you're very popular, too.
And he said I was quite famous in the town. And he said I was popular too.
It's very interesting news, isn't it? But we mustn't get too excited about it. First, we have to get a lot of money. Oh, by the way, what does Jim Hayes think about this?
He's very excited. He said he discovered me.
Well, that's true. And he's also helped you a lot, hasn't he?
Saudara pendengar, sekarang kita akan pergi ke rapat kota praja setempat. Mereka mengadakan rapat sekali 2 minggu untuk membicarakan hal-hal yang berkenaan dengan kota itu, dengan wali kota sebagai ketuanya. Saat ini, dia sedang memimpin rapat seperti itu, yang dapat dihadiri juga oleh anggota masyarakat. Dan tentu saja keluarga Baxter datang untuk ikut mendengarkan pembicaraan tersebut.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll agree with me. We all want Barbara Baxter to go to the next Pacific Games. She's a wonderful runner and a wonderful girl. Now we must discuss how to get the money to send Barbara to the Games. And, of course, her coach, Jim Hayes, and her mother, too.
Gosh, I didn't know about that.
I think we can raise the money. We'll have parties and barbecues and so on. Mr. Carson said the school would help us to raise some of the money. Now, I'd like someone to propose a motion.
Bagaimanakah pendapat pelajar-pelajar lain di sekolah Barbara tentang rencana tadi? Mari kita dengarkan.
What do you think about Barbara?
I think it's great. I didn't like Barbara a few years ago. I thought she was getting conceited. But after she fell in that race and lost the race, she wasn't so conceited, was she?
Right. I like Barbara. She's a marvellous runner. I'm going to help raise some money to send her to the games.
Kota kecil itu sekarang diliputi suasana sibuk bercampur gembira. Masyarakatnya mengumpulkan dana untuk mengirim Barbara ke Pacific Games dengan mengadakan pesta, barbecue, dan perlombaan-perlombaan. Sekolah Barbara mengadakan hari olahraga khusus supaya semua orang dapat melihat Barbara bertanding. Dan tentu saja semua merasa gembira apabila Barbara memenangkan semua perlombaan yang diikutinya. Di Australia, hal seperti ini mudah terjadi. Seringkali segenap warga kota atau warga bagian kota besar mensponsori seorang atlet pria atau wanita dan mencarikan dana untuk memajukan karier orang tersebut. Semua penduduk kota Newell merasa bangga akan Barbara dan ingin membantunya. Mereka beranggapan bahwa dia telah membuat kota tersebut terkenal. Seluruh penduduk kota ini berbicara tentang Barbara dan tentang usaha yang dilaksanakan untuk mengirimnya ke Pacific Games. Sekarang, coba dengarkan percakapan antara dua orang wanita ketika mereka bertemu di jalan.
Hello, Mrs. Brown. I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. As a matter of fact, I've been staying in Melbourne with my daughter. I love Melbourne, but it's good to be back.
I suppose you've heard the news about Barbara.
Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, I read all about her in the Melbourne papers. Everyone there is very interested in her.
Really?
Well, yes. She's the only person going to the games from Victoria, you know.
Oh, I didn't know that. We're very lucky to have Barbara in Newell. And we've almost got